The other thing that we see a lot of drugs is ADHD. Like there are a
Yes.
ton of kids on drugs for that. And it used to be that, you know what, kids were kids and, you know,
Yes.
they ran, especially boys, you know,
Hmm.
they ran around, they were rambunctious, and we just don't want to see that anymore, apparently.
Yes, absolutely. And I have a chapter in my book dedicated to that, asking where did the ants in my pants go? Because when I was a child, I was very active from a very young age. And I remember climbing up a telephone pole when I was 3 years old, with my sister's direction, and putting on roller skates and just taking off down the street in a street competition that we set up. And so being very active, I always thought that was positive. I always thought that I can do a lot of things. I could scale a fence faster than the boys in the neighborhood, and I could run faster than they could. And so I thought, this is great. Except when I was in grade school, my mother started to hear reports that I had ants in my pants and like something was wrong with me. And so my mother questioned, well, what's wrong? Absolutely, it began to affect me. They disregarded the fact that I was an A student, but continuously I got in trouble for certain things. Like when I was in the 8th grade, I was in Catholic school and there were 50 students in each classroom. So one day my teacher was absent. And so another teacher from the other 8th grade came in to take care of 100 students now. And I was sitting in the first row, first seat. And I always had that habit, and I was interested in playing basketball. And so I rolled up a piece of paper while she was talking, making it into a ball, and there was the trash can. So I threw the paper into the trash can while she was speaking, and it popped off the top of the trash can and hit the teacher's habit, the nun's habit. And while doing that, the teacher went into a rage, and she was going down to the assembly, and she threw me down 2 flights of stairs, cement stairs without a railing, and threw me against the blackboard in her classroom with all the students. I was the youngest student in the 8th grade, and I was very lightweight, so she threw me around the classroom, and it was very traumatic for me. So that's without a diagnosis. Of course, in those days there was no such thing, and of course the nuns weren't, you know, they couldn't really diagnose you even if there was. So at the same time, this continued. It was a fact that sometimes I would do so many things, my mind would be jumping around way ahead of everybody else. And so I had to adjust, and it happened all through high school, in math class, and then later on in nursing school, when I went there when I was 16, and I had trouble keeping up with the other students. As a matter of fact, in nursing school, my watch was dropped, and my watch was the second hand, and I didn't have money to buy a new one. So I had to take the pulse of the patient, taking my left hand with my watch so it would start, and then taking the pulse with my right hand. And so that was quite a challenge for me.
Oh, I
but uh,
bet.
but it did help me to pace myself in my life, right? So I can identify with the children now who have had this challenge, and also to say I never considered it a disease, and I never considered high energy as a problem, and neither did the other members of my family, because we were all raised by my parents who valued this. So at any rate, I I learned to adapt. I grew from my mistakes. I accomplished a lot of things in my life as a result of transforming my energy and anxiety and high energy into something productive. And it was very interesting that when I was an adult, I went to a biofeedback expert, and he helped me to understand that my high energy could produce wonderful things if I could just learn how to use it wisely. And so I took his word, and that's how I lived my life.
Yeah, I actually have ADHD as well. But my dad did some things that have really helped me control, focus, and organize. We never went the drug route with it. So thank God.
That's great. That's great that you channeled it into your sport. Mhm.
Yeah, well, not just into sport, just I have list making. I have ways that I've developed over the years that do keep me on track and focused. I have to finish
Mhm.
this before when you have that, it's almost like so.
Right, I understand, but at the same time, you can hone your focus with the
Yeah,
skills that I teach. That's what it's all about, especially with sports. You have to be right in the moment. You can't allow the luxury of a negative thought or your focus to be off, you're on the wrestling mat, but your mind is like out of field on the baseball. You're playing baseball rather than on the wrestling mat because you're so out of it.
yeah.
But that can be honed, and you can focus like a laser beam on what you have to do to score, and that helps you throughout your life. So those are transferable, I call them portable skills that you can use in every area of your life, and as young as nursery school all the way up to being in a nursing home. So there's no limit to usefulness for energy, especially in a nursing home where its energy is very low.
Yeah, there he is. So Christine's book, Wrestling Through Adversity, will be out on September 19th. It is currently in pre-sale. So, if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, if you're a coach, this is a book for you. And I really encourage you to go over and check it out and see what kind of tips and tricks you can get to help you deal with your children on a better basis. So Christine, thank you so much. It was great having you on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And also, I wish you success today with your focus and your high energy to accomplish your goals.
Well, thank you.